very bad feeling about this.
I got a bad feeling about this.
I have a bad feeling about this.
I've got a bad feeling about this. I have a bad feeling about this.
I have a bad feeling about
I have a very bad feeling about this. I've got a bad feeling about this.
For what it's worth, I've got a good feeling about this.
Punch it, Chisel.
I tried.
It's getting better.
I tried to have some, liquid courage in my mouth while I tried to do the chewy sound, but it didn't work out this time.
No,
I might
but
as well choked.
It's still better. I think it's definitely better than last week.
I actually literally choked, but I didn't. No. I choked on the bit. I didn't
Okay.
choke in real life yet.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of I've Got a Bad Feeling About This, where we dive into the darker side of Star Wars fandom.
Yes. My favorite subject of Star Wars, the fandom and the dark side.
Yes, I was just telling someone earlier, when I was younger, I was into wrestling. I loved the behind the scenes stuff. And, the Star Wars collecting stuff is exactly the same.
And I'm still into wrestling, and the dirt sheets are still out there, even though the internet is very prevalent.
Yes.
Howard Stern, prevalent. Yeah, and so like the dirt sheets have always been frowned upon and everything like that within wrestling, and they're still there.
Yeah, people love them.
Because the trade secret of wrestling is the kayfabe is still there.
Exactly.
Even though we know it's a fake sport.
We know it, but, just like, when the Iron Claw movie came out, people, we were just talking about that today. People that aren't into wrestling, they love that movie because you got to see the other side.
It was all right. I showed it to the Fig wife, and she watched the whole thing. She's like, it was all right.
Yeah.
And I thought the same thing, but it gave you an insight to wrestling.
Both the wives liked it. So the other one was talking about it today. So
it was definitely well made. It had that dude
definitely
from the where he's a sandwich maker show that's super popular. I watched one episode. I'm like, I'm not watching this.
Yeah.
All right, so what's on the topic for today, man?
All right, today we're going to get into something that is actually, a part of my almost everyday life is toy shows.
Yes.
I've been running my own toy show for a little over 2 years now.
Yeah, and you've done, I think, 4 or 5?
I think we're up to 8 now.
Oh, really?
I think we're about 8 toy shows right now.
How many did I sell at?
You've been at every one of them.
It was 8 already?
I think it's 8. I think it's 7 or 8 right now.
I think I was like 8 claws deep at all of them.
Yeah, you're not the only one. But it's something I started 2 years ago, and it was because of bad promoters. So other toy shows, and I've been to some of these. Yes, some of these other toy shows have been really bad. I didn't like the way they were being run, so I said, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to see if I can do better.
So you talk about how the run, and I'll get to that in a second, but normally these toy shows, I mean, the ones out here that I've been to, like before I met you, it was always the same vendors in there every time, like they're bros.
Always.
And it's like they still have the same shit. You guys ain't
All the
making no
time.
money. You
there's-
got weak ass shit. You're not getting the new shit. You're not bringing in the old shit. Some guys are.
Yeah.
But eventually you find a treasure. But
there's some shows where it's like they have shows every weekend and they move all around, the Bay Area here, and it's the same vendors at every single show.
Every time.
They'll do a show at like the Moose Lodge where there's like 10 people. I mean, the room is so small. It's like
talk about the one here in V-Town.
No, I'm talking about the one in Concord.
Okay, there was one here. I think it was Ohana Comic Con or something.
It was them. It was them. It was horrible. There was, like I said, 10 people. Somebody who did it, who does my show. He's like, man, I didn't even make the money for my booth. It was $70, and I didn't even make it.
Wow. And like, you charge a little bit more than $70, but it's a big.
I have.
And you have a lot of advertising.
I do. I put in a lot to my advertising, and we are the cheapest toy show, in the Bay Area for a 2-day show.
$5.
Our admission's $5, and even for our vendors, we're only charge $150 for a 10x10 spot for 2 days. Nobody else is doing that. There are people that are charging $125 for a 6x6 for one day.
Yeah.
And
they
these
get super expensive.
They do,
man.
and these guys don't have the attendance that we do.
Also, some of these guys, I mean, the bigger toy shows, if they have, some celebrity, Darth Vader, who was in one commercial, maybe
Exactly.
a video game commercial a long time ago in the 90s, and like they got him. Which, do people want to meet him? I don't know.
I think people do like to meet him, and they like to talk to him and stuff.
Yeah.
And that guy, he doesn't charge a lot for his autograph.
Okay.
I think he's like $30. Which is decent, He's been in like the special editions and stuff, and done the video game things, and that's okay. He's not.
I wasn't
charging
talking
a lot.
ill of him. I was
No,
talking ill of who he represents himself.
Oh, exactly.
As, it's not like he's claiming to be more, but I'm just saying,
No.
like, you're going to go to the toy show to meet Darth Vader from a commercial.
Exactly.
Hey, cool.
Exactly.
Hey, at least something's
he
here.
he happens to be a nice guy, and he does all this stuff, but that can't be your main attraction. There's kind of a difference. Some people want to be a full-on convention,
Yes.
and
Seminars and everything.
exactly, where they have panels and things like that. They have all these guests. If you're going to do that, you got to bring in some bigger names. I've been to some, like you said, you've got this guy who was Darth Vader in the special editions, and then you've got the guy who was the Power Ranger in like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers on Ice or some shit like that, and claims he
I'm not
taught Michael
knowledgeable about
Jackson
that, but,
how to dance and shit like that. You'll have these guys there,
And you go and talk to them, and they keep tapping their $30 sign for an autograph while you're talking
the
to
whole
them.
time, yeah. And these guys think that they're going to have the next San Diego Comic-Con, and they don't. They don't get many people in. Their advertising is horrible.
But some of the areas, like they'll get certain hotels that like have a cool plaza layout, and it's centrally located so people can just hit up the venue.
Yeah.
So that's a good spot.
It
at
is.
some of them.
So there are some that have been around for quite a while, and East Bay Comic Con is one of them.
East Bay Comic Con,
And
yes,
I like them. They're very hard to get into. They only do their show once a year. It's not that big, but the hotel they do it in is great. I had my wedding reception in that hotel. I love that hotel.
used to be the old Sheraton. Yeah,
It used to be the Sheraton, yes. And I like it. They have a really good layout. They do a good show there. I don't have anything bad to say about them. It's decent. You got a good mix of new and old, and the art stuff.
There's
and
multiple rooms, multiple cosplayers. There's lounges to hang out, and the
There
hotel
is.
doesn't mind that everyone is hanging out, partying, or whatever.
They
So,
don't. It's done really good. It's not huge, but they do a great job.
Okay.
But then on the other side, you've got these guys that will go rent another hotel because they do all these events and they think they know what they're doing, and nobody shows up.
Are these new guys to the joint?
Toy show? He's been doing his about the same length as mine. We got into it when I scheduled my very first show.
Oh yes, I remember this.
So then he had to cancel his and then wanted to reschedule it for the same day I had booked mine, and then comes up to me and tells me I have to move mine.
Is this the same dude that put out signs in front of your venue?
It is.
About his toy show,
He put signs up down the street.
which is legal, of course. But
he put
it's
signs
just
right by
bad-
my house.
Bad business, man. Wow,
It is.
dude.
And one thing that came out of it was that the people that did know about his show came to my show instead. They got them mixed up. So we
Wow.
got a few extra people because of that. But then we also had people go to his show, be like, man, this is horrible, turn around and leave, and then come to my show. And they're like, wow, this is so much better. And that was my very first show.
And that was a big show, man. I made buco bucks there.
Yeah, everybody did. I have never beat that show at any sales. I've been to Vegas, I've been to Reno, I've been to all these big actual conventions.
I got close to it on the last show that you did, and just because like it was I think WWE was in Scotland or something like that, and I played the pay-per-view live, which is kind of illegal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But who cares? And so I had people crowding my
Allegedly.
booth buying wrestling figures.
Yeah.
And I made out like a bandit that way.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
people hanging out watching wrestling, buying figures, dude.
Exactly. You provided that atmosphere.
Yes.
Some of these other places, like I said, they're not doing it. They've got one room, and I've been to this same show, and it's because it's local. I'll do it because it's local,
Right.
And
it's easy.
I have all my stuff ready to go. I can be set up in 2 hours, and I can do a show on 12 hours notice. So I go to the show, and I do good because I have a ton of inventory. I cover so much stuff, anywhere. And if it's a Star Wars show, that they'll promote it.
Just like you cover, of course, like Star Wars, Vintage Collection, Black Series, even old school vintage shit.
Yeah.
You don't do Power of the Force, really.
I do actually. I got a ton of Power of the Force
Okay.
stuff. I've been selling a lot of Power of the Force vehicles and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's cool shit.
I've been selling a ton of that lately. All kinds of Power of the Jedi. Even Episode 1 stuff lately. I just sold a whole bunch of Episode 1 stuff.
Episode 1 is coming back into
it is.
popularity again.
I've always loved the prequels, so. But I do other stuff. I have Marvel Legends. I do G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe's a good seller.
Yeah.
Depending where I go, like when I go to Sacramento, I almost always sell out of my G.I. Joe stuff.
But you're
It's a
not
good
getting the Ross finds and shit like that. You're doing like the Entertainment Earth.
No,
and
yeah,
stuff.
I do.
Shit.
Actually, I do both.
Okay.
I'll load up on the Ross stuff and then I'll hold it.
That's what
I did when I went to Vegas.
I call it egg hatching, man.
Yes, when I went to Vegas,
Sit on that shit.
I took everything I'd been sitting on from Ross for the past year. I was literally saving it up to go to Vegas,
I still have a ton.
and that was the second best show I've ever done.
Wow.
And I
Okay.
sold a ton of that Ross stuff.
Damn.
So-
and people know they're buying. Some people
And
do.
I'm when I'm doing McFarlane figures at $15, people are like, "Wow, that's great."
Yeah.
They don't know that I paid $6 for it.
Well, now they're $24.99. It's
Yeah.
like everything's going up, and
Exactly.
inflation. It's the government printing money. Look, I'm not political, but
Yeah,
whatever.
but when I could offer them, at great prices, the people buy it up. I'm not trying to get retail for it. I'm just trying to make some money, and I do really good that way.
Not
so.
everyone at a show is looking for a deal. They're looking for a figure to leave with or something to leave with.
Exactly. They might be looking for something specific.
I mean, I'll overpay for a figure just because I want it, or I think of a cool, because I do action figure photography, and if I think of an idea, I'm going to get that figure.
And that's kind of what happens is, the gotta have it now mentality.
Yep.
It kind of works in our favor at toy shows. Someone sees something, oh, hey, I want that. I want it. Okay, yeah, I'll pay whatever. Like when I would get some stuff, I used to get stuff early sent to me from a supplier in Taiwan. I would have it months before it showed up in the United States.
You told me, like, back to the second episode that we did, we were talking about the Star Wars celebration that you went to.
Yeah.
And you said there was this guy there selling Black Series for... You didn't say this on that last show, but our personal conversation, you had talked about it. This dude was selling, like, his Star Wars stuff at, like, huge markups.
Oh, ridiculous.
Did he even sell anything?
I saw one guy sell something. He sold, like, it was a Boba Fett, the droids version. He sold it for like $60.
Really?
And I could not believe that.
Wow.
I sell them for like 20 to 25.
You at that time you could still get them online.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I don't think they were really that hard to get. You don't see them in stores.
No.
But
you could get it, and like I said, he was charging double what I would have sold. More than double what I would have sold it for.
and it was probably a kid and his dad, and he's like, "Oh, look at this! I remember I showed you this cartoon, and I used to love droids," which no Star Wars fan ever said.
Exactly. I've been trying to watch it, and it's bad.
Dude, I've had some great times at toy shows just hanging out with the other vendors. Like, I'll be a vendor there, and of course I go and look around for deals and stuff. I found some cool shit that it wasn't even stuff that I wanted. I just knew it was a deal. Like, I found that vintage AT-AT.
Yeah.
That I eventually traded to you for a Power of the Force AT-AT or something.
Exactly.
And just because I wanted one. I love the AT-ATs.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
I
so.
don't do the vintage stuff and keep it original. I paint shit and fuck shit up,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to a good home.
So, yeah, I rescued it from you so you didn't paint it and brought you one that you could do whatever you want to and, not going to ruin it. So,
But hanging out with these people, like, some of the vendors are assholes and they want the buck and they don't give a fuck.
yeah, there's some of those. And, there have been some shows that I've been to that have been so bad, you had nothing to do but talk to vendors.
Oh yeah, I've been to a couple of those.
I did a show up in Sacramento, and this same thing. The guy wanted to put one together, didn't know what he was doing, and I was like,
"Do they not advertise correctly?"
It's exactly what it is.
Like
I
all
said,
you have to do is go on Facebook and target collectors.
I asked him, I said, what are you doing for advertising? And he's like, oh, well, we put some flyers in a couple local stores.
Nobody looks at flyers,
And
dude.
he put the flyers were like printed on like just plain white paper.
And not noticeable.
And-
It's like when I see a homeless person and they have a sign on the freeway exit and I can't read it because they used pen or they used Sharpie, but they didn't make it block letters and color it in. I'm like,
Exactly.
dude,
You can't
get
read it.
Get some art degree kind of. It's not. You don't even need an art degree.
I hire a guy to design my flyers. They're two-sided, have all the information
Mm-hmm.
on them. Even the flyer has our Instagram, our webpage, all that stuff. So there's a lot on there.
I've seen some flyers of other toy shows that don't even say the city on it. I'm like,
yeah.
is this in the city that I'm looking at it on? But I'm looking at someone's picture on Facebook, so I don't fucking know.
I've seen flyers without the dates on them before.
This weekend.
I was like, wow, toy show. And he gave like the address and stuff, but no date. And you're like, well, what's the date?
Sunday. It's like
Yeah.
the old school fucking Guitar Center commercial. Zildjian,
Yeah.
Star Wars, Kawasaki, Sunday.
So, I went to that show and every sale I made was to another vendor. It was so bad. Every single
Just
sale.
made some sales.
I did, but look, like I said, I brought a ton of stuff, and
It's a lot of work too.
it is. It was an entire day, and for a few $100, and then you find out you're the best seller in the show.
Wow.
On a few $100, less than $400, and you sold more than everybody else.
Plus,
that's hard.
How much of your toy crew was there to hang out with? During
Yeah.
the day. I don't know.
Yeah. This one I was by myself, but because my kids live up there, my kids came out and they were like, "Wow, this is kind of bad." And the thing is, I had offered them some help beforehand. Said, "Look, I do this. I've got some experience. Let me help you out." I gave them some suggestions. They didn't follow a single suggestion. And it was luckily for that the show was cheap. Sometimes I'll do some shows just because they're cheap enough, $50-$40, whatever. I don't mind losing that, if I happen to make some money. Or sometimes, we've done the shows where, $40 for a table and we've just hung out. We sat there, we watched the Niner game.
Yep.
We drank the whole time. We had fun.
That specific day that you're talking about, and I didn't make one sale. I think I bought a few things.
Yeah,
but that's about it.
I bought a few things that day. My sales were decent. They weren't great, but I'm less than 10 minutes from the house.
Right.
It only cost me a few dollars. It was worth it to come hang out and bullshit and see everybody.
Right. Everyone's going to a neutral location just to hang out and know they're not going to make any money.
That worked for me. Now, if I wasn't there with my friends, it would be totally different.
Oh yeah,
I would be pissed. There was a guy that came up for that show. He came from Hollister.
What?
Yes.
And how far away is that for the listeners?
Hollister
I don't
it's
know.
roughly 2 hours,
Okay, yeah, that's.
if not a little bit more.
I mean,
It's a drive.
because like we'll go to Lodi, and we know Lodi has a good con.
They do. They
So-
put on a really good show, and it's worth the hour drive. But this guy, he drove up 2 hours because he was doing another show in town the next day.
Oh, I talked to him. Yes,
So
the Star Wars
Yes.
little con they had at the Hilton.
yes,
Yeah.
I was doing both of the shows also, and I was like, all right, I'll do this one because we're all going to be there. We're all going to hang out. I just load my truck up. I don't even got to unload it. The next morning, I just go right to the next con. And I did okay at the one the following day, the one on Sunday. I did okay.
It's all Star
but-
Wars though. So
But that's the thing, because it was Star Wars.
Star Wars
all
pops.
all the other vendors there did horrible. A lot of them barely made their space.
What are they selling though? Black Series, Vintage Collection, everything that you're selling, or no?
No,
just
I
classic
was
shit.
the only guy that had the newer, that had new stuff, Black Series, Vintage
that's
Collection.
why you made out then.
Yeah, there
Because
was
when people think Star Wars, yeah, of course the older guys want the older stuff.
Yeah,
But
and that's
all
what
the
other
kids and
guy
stuff,
had.
and
He
the
had
dads who
that.
bring their kids, oh, a Star Wars thing, let's go. And then there's no new shit.
Yeah,
There's
you have a
one guy with the new shit.
You have one guy there that he's got some cool stuff. Now, some of these guys have really cool stuff.
They do.
You know, he's got these metal sculptures, and I actually own one. It's an R2D2 and a C3PO.
But
Made
a
bunch of,
one-day
like-
event that's not really publicly put out there and advertised
Exactly.
correctly, you're not going to get these people who are going to spend bucks.
Exactly. You're not
know?
going to get the people that are coming in and dropping hundreds of dollars.
No.
You're going to get the guy that comes in and he wants to make a deal. Oh, you know, he spends $100, $200, something like that.
I love all the guys who walk around with a cart and they bring their figures from home or wherever they just bought at the store and go, hey, you want to make a trade? And I
Yeah.
do all the time.
I do that
All
too.
the
I
time.
love that. People for my show, people will say, "Hey, can we bring stuff in?" I'm like, "You're more than welcome. Bring a wagon.
Yep.
I don't care."
That's where I get all my chases and stuff. And then
Yeah.
I lowball them every fucking time because I know what they just paid for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to trade you something that I couldn't sell, and that's fine, dude. Even if it's worth more, I don't care. Take
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I'll take the chase, dude. It's wrestling.
I prefer trading. You know, I love doing it. You know, we all do it amongst ourselves. We trade
yeah.
shit and stuff. I love doing that when, you know, the customers want to do it. I have no problem.
Nobody
It has
gets fucked unless
has
it's
to make-
online.
Yeah, it has to make sense. You know, I'm not going to trade you my $100 figure for like two of your $20 figures.
No.
You know,
Depending on the market value.
well, that's what I'm saying. Based
But
on
you know the
value.
market is going to go up and down, so...
Yeah, I have one kid that he comes in, he has all new stuff, and he'll see my older stuff, and he'll make me a trade. He'll trade me sometimes 5-to-1 on figures.
So people do that, like just going to toy stores and selling their old collection just to get one new thing that's hard to get.
Exactly, that
That's a
happens a
normal
lot.
thing, and that's the video game like reseller market.
Yeah.
like Funko Land, not Funko Land. Yeah, was it Funko Land before it was GameStop or all that shit? Yeah, I think so. There's
Yeah, I know.
all the trading in your game systems and stuff just to get some brand new game for a new system.
Exactly.
Shit you don't use no more.
Yeah, and like you said, but this is kind of the other way. They trade me that new stuff to get the old stuff that's harder to get.
Yeah.
You know, I'll have one guy came up. I had a older Black Series Anakin, it's $80 to $100 figure.
Okay.
He brought me an entire wave of brand new Marvel Legends.
Oh shit.
So I was like, dude, I will
Brand
do
new.
that.
Yeah.
Brand new.
You're gonna sell them. You're gonna get off those quick with the amount of toy shows you do.
Exactly.
Yep.
I think I sold them within a week. They were all gone.
And plus, you've been sitting on the Anakin for a while.
Exactly. And the thing is, what I picked the Anakin up for, I picked it up for $12 in a lot.
well,
So it
yeah.
cost me $12, and then I turned around and I made, $150.
Right, and you're not doing that like sinisterly.
No,
you know?
this was his idea. He said, "I will give you." He said, "Will you do this for this?" And I said, "Yes."
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't like to be the guy being like, "Well, no, I have to win." I'm only going to give you 50% credit. I'm not that guy. There's lots of guys at the shows that do that.
Yes.
They want all of your stuff for some of their bullshit.
Right, they
And-
make sure they're always on top. Which I get the practice, dude. If that's what you do and that's your only business, I can kind of understand that because you got it.
But there's certain degrees to it. I mean, I
There
get
is.
that. I get if you have to win, that's fine. I understand that.
Like,
that's capitalism.
Even Walmart clearances their shit and gets rid of it.
Exactly.
you know?
But don't try to fuck a guy over and be like, you need to
Right.
give me 3 times, the value. If you want my $100 figure, you need to bring me $300.
I'm dealing with
I
that
see
right
that.
now. I already gave a fellow collector, seller, vendor credit, and then when I go to pick something up from him that maybe I want, he's like, "Oh, well, the price skyrockets."
Well, yeah.
because he don't price his shit.
Oh, exactly.
And I know what he's doing. I'm like, all right, well, that's not going to
I know
fly,
what he's
dude.
doing because he does it all the time. He says,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's $40, but give me 25 right now."
Yeah.
Yeah, it was never $40.
No.
You just said that, and he does that to every customer.
Well, yeah, it makes you seem like you're
it's
getting a deal,
and it's kind of funny. We make a little joke about it,
right?
but
I know how it works.
Exactly.
And I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
yeah,
I call the bullshit when I see it. Everyone does, or they try to. But, not everyone knows at these toy shows. You get a lot of collectors come in, or people who aren't even collectors. They don't understand the market, And
No.
some sellers, vendors will be fucking assholes because these customers don't
will.
understand the market.
I've had somebody tell me one time, "Well, I am the market," and I'm like, Yeah, not really.
Really? Who's that?
Another a vintage Star Wars guy, because he's
Wow.
got a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, dude, you know, you can go online and see what this is. You can go in the Facebook groups. You can see what this is, and you know, you're asking double.
If he's the market, he's buying and selling on eBay to himself from himself.
Yeah, and it's above. You know, his prices are above eBay, and I get that. Sometimes you do have some rare stuff, and it's harder to find.
Certain
whatever.
items you can price above eBay listings.
Exactly.
eBay's like the go-to. Everyone uses it.
Everyone knows
Sold
it. eBay
listings.
sold listings. So,
But certain items that you like at a toy show that you can't find other than eBay, and even eBay, like you can't trust every seller on there. You don't know what
Exactly.
you're getting. You can see it right now. It's in your hands. You have that value,
exactly, it's
And so you can get a
the in your
markup.
hand now price.
and the markup's usually like $10 over.
It's not. It usually,
you know?
it's not a lot. You know, being a little bit over. Being like, hey, look, you can see it right now. Check out the condition. You can find one on eBay. You know, the last one sold for $300, but you don't see another one listed under $4.
Nope, you're gonna wait around.
But if I'm going to tell you, okay, I can do it for $325 right now, you know,
Yeah.
maybe mine's a little better condition, whatever. That to me, that's acceptable.
yeah,
I'd
you
pay
might
that.
have a protector case over it. You know, comes with
exactly.
some shit.
I don't got to pay, but then I don't got to pay shipping. I don't got to pay tax. I don't got to worry about it being damaged.
Also, you may be a return customer.
Hey,
You know, you get
exactly.
other deals, man.
Exactly. You know, my return customers, I always give them deals. I've got a pretty good following, and it's because of, you know, the way I treat my customers.
So we've talked about like during COVID and sales. We've had some good toy shows during COVID.
Yes,
You know,
great.
outdoor stuff, safe stuff, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
And people wanted to spend money, and that was great.
Yeah, they did.
But after COVID, man, everything has changed.
It has changed so much.
everything landslided down. People stopped spending. People, you know, have to go back to work.
Exactly. And the market's just tanked on so much stuff. You know, Funko, you know, Funko is now landfill.
Right. We
You
all
know,
know
it's-
that. We all know that story with the
Exactly.
landfill. It's like the
So-
ET story with the video game.
Exactly. It's just gotten so bad. And, you know, now you've got these shows that did good during COVID, and now they're just trying to coast off of what they did during COVID. You know, they're not bringing in any new customers. They're not doing any advertising. You've got these guys that, oh, I'm doing a show. And you go to them and you notice slowly you got less and less customers. You're paying to go do this show, but nobody's showing up. At some point,
they're not adapting to the new frontier. They're not coming up with new ideas
They're
to
not.
draw people in.
they're not. And they keep saying, oh, we have more tables. And, you know, they're just looking at bringing in the money. And sometimes this will be a place that has their own store.
Here's another thing, though. If you drop the prices for, you know, your area for a vendor to get, you might get more vendors and better vendors and different vendors.
Exactly. You know,
Like one of your shows, you had like a guy who 3D printed shit and built shit for Mythic Legions and stuff like that, which is like a fantasy company, whatever, Four Horsemen. And I thought that was amazing, dude. I'm like, he didn't do too well in sales, but like he hooked up with a lot of vendors and shit.
yeah, he got a lot of exposure from
Yep.
it. And, you know, that's one thing I like is that, you know, we don't always have the same vendors every single time. We have new people every single show.
Yep.
We do have a lot of return customers. You know,
This is not a commercial for your show, by the way.
no. We haven't even talked about the name or anything like that. So
Because look, California, everyone thinks we get all the figures first and shit like that. It's not true.
we don't.
Sometimes we do. Sometimes, most of the time, we don't.
yeah,
And it depends on where you're at. Even in LA, dude, there's so many collectors you can't get in. We don't live in LA. We live in Northern California, and it's even worse.
people don't realize really when you see these people getting figures first, they're usually coming from another country. So especially Hasbro stuff. Hasbro releases all their stuff in Asia before the United States.
Right. You see it all in Singapore and shit.
Exactly.
First.
Like I got a guy in Taiwan, and like I said, I've gotten stuff from him months before anybody else. My first toy show, one of my raffle prizes was a Droids Boba Fett,
Okay.
and I had that, and it wasn't even available in the United States yet.
Wow.
And I'd been sitting on it for about 2 months.
And people were clamoring after
Yeah.
it.
I'm trying to remember who.
Especially
it was-
the big Boba Fett collectors.
Yeah, it was a friend. It was a customer of mine. Yeah, you might know him, Spartan Toy Hunter.
I think I don't.
He does. He does a lot of
customizing.
customizing and stuff. So.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. I know
Yeah.
he is. I exactly know who he
Okay.
is. Yes.
Yeah, he won it. So
Okay. All right.
and hell, I think Mikey won something at that too.
He did.
Yeah.
He won like some chase figure.
I gave him. I gave him.
Oh,
the
you gave him
chase,
that. Okay.
but he won something else. I don't remember what he won.
Yeah, Mikey was one of the old hosts who I terminated from Hoodcast AF Action Figure Podcast. It's a whole drama-filled show. So
Yeah,
check it
you
out.
should go check that out. There's lots of fun shit on there.
So, surviving on reputation. That's how long-standing toy shows are surviving past success, but are not innovating or attracting new customers.
they're-
We just kind of talked
they're
about
not.
that, but I know.
There's lots. There's some that have been around a long time. You know, like the San Jose Super Show. That show has been around over 20 years. You know, they put on a great show. It's usually usually pretty busy. A lot of vendors. They sell out almost every single time, and they've built that reputation. But it's over 20 years. You've got these guys that came in just during
is that
COVID.
a great show? I mean, because WonderCon started out here, was always at the San Francisco Moscone Center, and for years. And I used to go to that every fucking year, and then they moved to LA.
Yeah.
And I was like, and it was like another Comic Con now, like San Diego Comic Con again.
And
you know,
I didn't realize, but one of the owners of WonderCon is actually the owners of Flying Color Comics in Concord.
oh, I didn't know that.
Joe started Free Comic Book Day.
Yes,
In Concord. A lot of people don't know that, and
he's being booted out of his shop because
Exactly.
they're gentrifying the.
they're making
area.
it a bagel shop.
Oh,
So they're
there's a bagel shop right down the block. So
There is.
There is.
Literally down
I
the
know.
block.
I
There's
went
one.
to. I lived
Yeah.
out there and went to high school out there. So
Yeah,
no.
me too. So,
Delicious bagels at Noah's, though. But I don't know what this bagel shop's going to be. But I'd rather have
no
comics.
idea. But they're, he's got to move. But he is part owner of WonderCon. So,
Huh.
yeah, I only recently found that out.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because he's big comic books. And
Exactly.
He started it when comic book conventions weren't shit. Then all of a
yeah.
sudden you get the 501st Legion showing up and everyone, cosplaying, and it
Yeah.
was fun. I was big into comics and magic cards at the time going there, so I wasn't really looking too much at toys unless it was like horror affiliated. But
Yeah.
I was looking for magic
He's one of those
cards.
guys that he's been doing it a long time. He's been around. You look at how much they've grown, how much they've changed. You've got these guys that just came in. You got a lot of guys that came in during COVID as, I'm going to do this because I'll get a lot of people. I'm going to make some money on this. And they didn't do anything. They put in the least amount of effort. Now, people are coming to these shows and your sales are nothing. I did a show recently. I don't think I made, $300 at it, which is pretty bad. It's just, people aren't showing up.
Well, dude, sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you. Far out, man.
So, they're not doing anything new. So, I've talked to a bunch of vendors and they're like, you know what? We just need to stop doing these shows. We need to stop going to these shows where they're not doing anything. They're not going to advertise. We're just not going to show up.
Right. But there's still so many other vendors that do, and then they bitch and complain. It's like, dude, well, why are you repeating the same process?
Exactly.
Why are you following the same trend that you're trusting in a promoter that's not doing their job?
Yeah, we're trying
They're
to
not
tell
adapting.
we've been doing this. We work both sides. Some of the vendors are involved in other shows, things like that. They do other things. So we're trying to tell people, hey, look, dude, if it's not worth it, don't go back. All right.
It's also like who and
Exactly.
it's like the reverse training day. It's not who it's what you can prove.
Yeah. Like one of the last toy shows I had done, I had a ton of people coming up to me the whole time asking to get into my show. Mm-hmm. And, another vendor was like, dude, that's what we need. We need guys that want to come to, and do shows like yours that are they're good shows. Let's stop going to these other shows. It might mean that, you got a weekend where you're not making any money, but at the same time, you don't want to go lose money either.
No.
And that's been happening. My average on toy shows has been going down a lot.
Even the vendors, like certain vendors, like, I mean, I have wrestling shit, so I usually do pretty decent no matter what.
Yeah.
And plus, it ain't that far from me. But there's other vendors who have, like, I don't know, Happy Meal food toys and just weird shit, and they don't make very much, and they're traveling from far to try and sell their wares.
Exactly.
But there's not, I mean, there's not a market for it really right now.
There,
I don't know.
There isn't, you might hit the one spot where the one time the guy, you sold like $400 worth of Happy Meal toys.
Yeah.
And then
It's called La Polga.
And then the next time, nobody buys anything. And you're like, oh, shit.
I mean, it's happened to me too. Yeah.
I mean, that happened with a lot of people. Like we said, people will be like, oh, hey, I'm doing great on Funko Pops. I'm going to buy some more. You got to order, 8 months ahead of time. All of a sudden, oh, yeah, I'm fucked. I got 1,000 Funkos sitting at home right now.
Yeah, you just need to like pile them up and do like an elbow drop into them.
So I'm just like, dude, I'm going to let them go for less than my cost. My cost was only $6.
Yeah.
The good thing, Funko did have really good margins. You got 100% markup.
Do you think they
did
that
wholesale?
Did that purposely just to get them flooded and get sellers selling them like that?
I don't think so. I mean, when you look at a Funko, there's nothing like, there's no articulation. There's nothing expensive about it. It is literally 2 pieces of plastic and a spring.
Yeah.
There's nothing to it. And the box.
The box is not even taped or nothing.
Exactly.
It's not sealed. So
nope. So it's, it's not a lot to manufacture. They can design and put into production a brand new Funko Pop in less than 90 days.
Right, but like still, like, I mean, $10 is a fine price for it, and that's what I would do. $10-11.
That's
I
put them at $10.
So
what I
like
sell them for.
The fact that you can get them at $6, it seems like, because what do they make them for? Like they run so many, and so they're probably paying $2, less than that for each wave, but depending on what the mold is and how many they're running.
Exactly, how many they're running. The more they run, the less they cost.
And the rare ones are the ones just have different paint, so it's not a different mold.
So occasionally you'll have one that's a different mold, but most of the time it's different paint.
There's still 5,000 of those because the collector market is huge.
Exactly, the market is huge. So they, like you said, they make a ton of it, and after a while, it just got hard. It just got so hard to sell.
We will have a full episode on Funkos and other shit.
Oh,
and
definitely.
A lot of people love them, but I think most people hate them now.
I think the people that love them are the ones where that's their only avenue. Like with anime, there's not a lot. It's easy. You could pump out a ton of anime Funkos, but there's not a lot of other anime stuff out there.
Well, I mean, there's statue figures and stuff that Asia makes.
Exactly, and those are $300-400 a piece.
McFarlane picks up some waves of shows that he does
occasionally, but yeah, it's easy to go spend $10-15 on a Funko Pop for the show that you like,
right? To represent what you love,
exactly.
And
so
put it on your.
And
office
I think that's literally what keeps them going.
But the people who are hardcore Funko collectors, they have rooms dedicated to it. I mean, I do too, to my toys, But still, with Funko Pops, you just have to have walls of shit. Like it doesn't. It's not like you're putting one Funko with your Darth Vader who looks cool and with the scar face or something.
Yeah, I have that with my Biker Scout collection.
Of course you do.
I have a couple. I have a couple Funkos stuck in there, and that's it. I don't have any Funkos displayed, in my room except for the Biker Scout ones. They're all literally sitting in boxes, like 300 of them. Fuckers.
Right, but if there was a toothbrush Biker Scout, you would get it.
Oh, I have all that stuff. If it's a Biker Scout thing, I have it.
Right.
So that's why I said the Funkos had to be in there because they're Biker Scouts.
So let's go into the dark side of. I mean, we touched on positive and negative and stuff, but the real dark side, the real scammers out there for these toy shows.
Now, there's a couple of them. There's been a couple toy shows, like I said, where you've shown up and it's only the vendors that are making money. But there's one that has caused, a lot of drama. So
people know about this?
A good amount of people know about this. And this guy's been called out a lot. So a few years ago, I was in a Facebook group and this guy, he posted a thing, said, hey, look, there's Capitola Comic-Con You know, their thing was they were going to have a bunch of Boba Fett guys there, you know, and I was like, oh, hey, let me check
like
this out.
Actors or
People
like
that,
collectors?
yeah, like Daniel Logan was there.
Okay.
And the guys that, you know, were the stunt doubles, and I think one of them voiced Boba Fett.
That's a big
and,
thing to get them to sign your like inbox figures and shit. You
Yeah.
know?
So, obviously, you know, Jeremy Bullock wasn't there because he had already died, I think. And, you know, Tamora Morrison
You
wasn't
mean
there.
Disney
but it was,
didn't resurrect him?
No, they didn't freeze his head or anything. So,
They didn't even get like a CG fucking what do you call it?
hologram?
Hologram to show up. You
no.
know?
So I look into it and I find out who's running it, and I see this guy at a bunch of shows, and we talk and stuff, and he's telling me he's putting on Capitola Comic Con.
Is he like a car salesman type of dude?
Oh,
or-
definitely.
He's a talker.
Oh, he is. He is. So, you know, I talk to him, and then, you know, I see the stuff. You know, he's done the shows, and he's telling me how great it was, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I see some of this, and he's telling me, oh, I'm doing this show. It's going to be great. Blah blah blah. He's going to do it in Santa Cruz at the boardwalk, and I'm like, okay, cool. You know, that sounds kind of cool. I'm in. I pay for my spot. So
Yeah, it sounds fun. Sounds awesome. You
Exactly.
get a hotel room.
You know, this is like the
gonna
third.
be a
This is
cool
like
trip.
the third or fourth, you know, one he's done. And you know, at one of them, he had Emily Swallow, who plays the armorer.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, so he's got, you know, a decent. He's got a
getting
decent
people.
track record, right? Later on, I found out that it was actually someone else who had been putting it on, and he kind of came in and then kind of like stole the con from this other guy. And
What happened to the other guy?
he's got a store in the Capitola Mall, Hadbro. Really nice guy, George.
but he let this guy take over, or this guy was just claiming the fame?
They were kind of partners in one, and then
Okay.
after that, the guy just kind of took over and cut the other guy out. So
He just decided to do something on his own. Well, I could do what you do.
exactly. So, you know, I signed up for the show, and then this guy, you know, he ends up having like a heart attack or something, and he tells everybody, "Oh, I have to postpone the show because for health reasons." But I knew his girlfriend, and she was telling me all the other stuff. She's telling me, "This guy's out. These people are trying to ruin us. These people are trying to ruin our show."
Already bad news right there.
Yeah, she's and
The
gives me
fact
there's
that
like
she's
a,
trying to save face on a different level rather than, oh, my boyfriend's got
Exactly.
health issues.
So then I'm
There's
like-
something else going on?
okay. So then I'm like, all right, you know, let me look into this a little bit because it's kind of a lot. And then I'm finding out, well, this person that she says is trying to ruin them. Well,
Hold
I
on.
end
Let's
up-
give like the car salesman guy who's throwing on the show. Let's give him a name. Let's call him Jerry.
Oh, I will give his name. His name is Rob Kaiser.
Okay, Rob Kaiser.
Yeah.
Sounds
So
like choose the Rob or the Kaiser.
yeah, he was actually, you know, he was in the 501st.
Oh, really?
He had a TK number. He actually got kicked out
that.
because of all this stuff.
Oh, okay.
So then I, you know, like I said, I do a little digging and I find out a bunch more. He had a store in the Capitola Mall. It got closed. He didn't pay his rent on it. He owes a ton of vendors money. He was selling CBD products at the time. You know, the
He's
president.
a car salesman.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, dude, that was like my grandpa. He's always looking for the new trade. You know, the new thing to make
the
a deal
people-
on.
Exactly. The people that had like their you know, drink, you know, things in there. I don't remember the name of it now, but they had the refrigerator in there stocked with their drinks. He never paid them. He never paid like the CBD company. Even the president of the CBD company had posted on this guy's.
So these are all like kind of
webpage.
pipe dreams. Like I pay for the storefront, I get this shit up and going, and then I don't pay any of the
Exactly.
suppliers, and I did.
That's exactly what he's done.
It's a scam.
Multiple times,
Over and over again. He knows what he's doing
I
there.
found, yeah,
Yep.
and I found this out. He's told people that he was a first responder on 9/11. He said he was in the military. He was a first responder. All this stuff.
Come on, we know all the first responders passed away.
Okay, but I found out actually on 9/11 he was in jail for stealing his girlfriend's credit card and literally taking money from her. He was arrested on grand theft.
Wow.
And I just found all this out. And he was arrested on grand theft. He was also arrested for fraud because he was selling stuff on eBay that he didn't have. He was selling Wayne Gretzky autographed hockey stick that he never had.
And that's hard to do. You take the money and run, and
Yeah.
then like your credit goes.
Exactly. So that's why he ended up changing his name. His real name was Rob Sanita, and now he's changed it to Rob Kaiser. After
He thought
was
Kaiser
arrested.
was a better name.
I guess so. I guess so. So he was, like I said, he was doing the Capitola Comic Con. Told everybody he had, you know, Coconut Grove. Everybody paid for it. Then he postpones the show. Everybody's like, "What's going on?" They're telling me, "Oh, it's health issues." I said, "Okay, cool." You know, then he moves out of Santa Cruz and he moves to Lompoc. He goes down to Lompoc and he sets up a show down there.
He sounds like Dr. Gonzo. You know, yeah, like this man suffers from a bad heart condition. He's just a scammer constantly. He even scammed Raul Duke.
So he goes down there and sets up another show.
Y'all smart, you know who I'm talking about.
And never tells the other vendors about it. All the people that paid him for the Capitola show, he didn't pay them. He never told them he was doing another show.
Wow.
So
Of course, because he can't do the same vendors. They want their money.
Yeah, he took all of their money. And whenever anyone would call him out online, he would be like, "Oh no, it's only been postponed. It hasn't been canceled. You don't get your money back." And he kept this up.
So this is like a lot of wrestling promoters that I know.
Oh.
I can name Axel Rotten. He's known for this.
So he keeps doing this, and then there are people that keep defending this guy. So somebody created an Instagram page calling him a con man and started putting all this stuff out there.
Yeah,
saying
information.
Yeah, saying, "Look,
It's not slander.
He's lying.
It's-
He's lying about this. He's lying about this." You know, there's a guy that I've become friends with. He has a life-size R2-D2, and he does all the droids. He does a chopper and all this stuff. He goes around to all the shows.
Yeah, I met him.
Yeah, so Rob starts telling people that this guy can't be around kids because he's a sex offender.
No.
Yeah.
And this is not sex offended like, oh, I got busted because I pissed on the side of the road.
Oh, no. His words were that he's not allowed to be around children, and he can't take and he's not allowed to take pictures of children either.
Well, thank God.
So, and they said, "Oh, look at his, you know, his Instagram. It's all pictures of girls and stuff."
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
Okay, it's not a joke, okay? This is serious.
But then I found out that everything that Rob was saying about this other guy, Rob was doing. Rob was hitting on young girls in the mall. You know, he was secretly recording himself with some girl, some like 18-year-old girl that worked in the mall, and I've seen him tell people. He's been telling
wanna see my Darth
He
Vader?
tells these young girls that he's like, "Oh, I can introduce you to this person." He told one girl who dresses up as, you know,
he must know about newer shit because like you can't talk about you know, toys and all this other shit. Like these young girls aren't going to be into that. So
No. So one girl's a cosplayer, dresses up as a Mandalorian stuff. He tells her, "Oh, hey, I can introduce you to Emily Swallow, who played the Armorer." Well, thing is, he can't because he stiffed her. He never paid her the money. So then when he did his next show that was in Lompoc, he had a bunch of people show up. He had Tate Fletcher, who plays the Mandalorian. He's one of the guys that wear. He's the
one of the stunt guys or something.
Paz Vizsla.
Okay,
He's the big.
Paz
He's the
Vizsla.
big one. So it's him in the costume. Well, he didn't pay him, and then turned around and tried to accuse Tate of stealing money from them. Said that Tate and his handler Chuck stole $10,000 from them.
You have to fire back somehow to yeah.
Exactly. So then, you know, he put on that convention. Well, he didn't pay the hotel. Actually, what he did with the hotel is he took his girlfriend's mom's credit card and said, "Oh, I need to borrow it to pay for the room for the hotel." But it was like $8,000 worth of charges. And then when the bill came, he told her mom, "Oh, just dispute them. I'm not going to pay it."
He stiffed her too.
And he stiffed her. So,
dude, like if I ever have to go homeless, I lose my house, I lose my job and everything. I got to learn from Rob the Kaiser.
Oh,
man.
God.
Somehow this guy keeps floating by.
Exactly. And like I said, and you've got people that are still defending him. You've got one guy that does a lot of stuff with Star Wars Celebration. He's defending this guy. And anytime someone calls him out, he's like, what's wrong with you? Don't you have anything better to do? I said, yeah. And I said, yes. I'm calling this guy out. He's stealing money from people. And he continues to defend him. There's another podcast that continuously, you'll see they're liking his stuff, they're sharing it. And then when they got called, when someone said, what's going on? Oh, we don't know. And I said, bullshit, this is exactly what happened. And then they tell me, oh, well, this is only what we heard. No, because I know what you've heard. You're at all these shows. I know what you're hearing. This dude ripped people off, and you've never once talked about it.
So why are people on his side? They're not because he's not paying them out.
No, and that's what I don't understand. And someone's like,
there's got to be more to it somewhere.
I've known this guy for a long time. And I'm like, then you should know what he's doing. And I said, he took all this money and now he's selling, these lounge flies. Oh no, he's had that. I said, no, it's not, because that stuff's brand new. Why is he taking pre-orders? Why is he taking pre-orders for product?
Pre-orders is another scam. That's the oldest scam in the book within the toy business. Why is pre-orders?
Why is he taking pre-orders for stuff then? Oh, no, that's stuff he's had. I've seen it. No, you haven't. No, you haven't, because you don't even know where this guy lives.
Any independent company that's not Hasbro or Mattel that are taking pre-orders for something, you cannot trust them. I don't care if it's premium DNA. You cannot trust them.
Yeah, he's been kicked. Like I said, he's been kicked out of so many groups. Like I said, he's been kicked out of the 501st. He's been kicked out of the Jedi Council. He's been... What else was he kicked out of? He was kicked out of something else. And like I said, and these guys still defend him, and I just don't understand it. This guy is a piece of shit, and it's been proven time after time. I'm suing him. Somebody else is suing him. I know, like, the party company in Santa Cruz.
How much money did he take you for?
About $3,000.
Okay.
So, and I know someone that
you're adding up
more than
gas,
double.
hotels.
Oh no, that's
traveling.
I paid for spots at multiple shows.
How much was he charging for a spot?
So I think I paid $400 or $500 for one show.
And then how big of a spot was that one?
That one was like a 10 by 10, I think.
Only a 10 by 10 for $500 because of the guests he had in the room. And,
because it was supposed to be at the boardwalk in Coconut Grove, and I paid for a better spot and stuff. So, I was like, okay, that's not...
How many times did he sell that same spot to somebody else?
That's what
you don't know.
That's what nobody knows.
Because he probably doesn't keep books on that shit. He just takes the money.
No. Then he was doing another show, and I was like, okay, cool. I'll do that one. And we've done these shows where I buy all the spots and everyone shows up and you guys just pay me back.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I did that for another show.
Oh, I'm suing you for one of those spots where I didn't sell anything.
Yeah. So I did that for another show.
I'm suing you for $5.
I got 5 spots for his next show. So, and then that show never happened. And then he tried to tell me, "Oh, you didn't pay for that." I said, "Bullshit." And I sent him the receipt. I said, "Here you go." "Oh, I didn't know that." And then I'm like,
how do you not know?
How do you not know? We talked about it. You were right there when I paid for it.
Business ethics.
So then, like I said, the dude just disappeared. He blocked me on social media. He's blocked tons of people on social media.
Because that always works.
And then what he did was the Capitola Comic-Con page on Instagram is now completely gone.
Right. It'll be a new pop-up company.
He just deleted everything. He deleted everything off there, saying it would. So when you go to Capitola Comic-Con now, there's nothing on the page.
I wonder if he's legally changing his name or just changing his name.
I have no idea.
Probably just.
I got some of this information from people that have sued him already. He's been sued multiple times.
But you're not going to get any money from him unless he screws someone else, and then you get the money from that.
So I've got a friend who's a lawyer and a Star Wars collector.
Oh, there you go.
He told me that we could sue him, and he said after that, if he's not paying, you can get an injunction against his toy show. So he can't put on the event.
Okay.
So
I mean, you got to stop him.
Exactly.
Someone's got to stop him.
Exactly.
But it takes you spending the money on lawyers,
yeah,
or a couple of people. making that
Exactly.
happen unless because you can always just throw on another toy show under a different name, or he can get like, because he's a talker. You can get like Joe Blow, who's new in the vendor game like I was, and just like, hey man, you want to be, and I would probably jump at the chance to like, oh yeah, I'm gonna collect from the door, I'm gonna I'm down, and then I get fucked.
Exactly. And that happened to someone else I know. He went in on one of his conventions with him, and he got fucked. He lost about $7,000, I think.
See, I'm not going to trust anyone right off the bat. Like I would trust you, and I've talked to you about shit like that. If I got money to spend and like I can go in on a wager that's a somewhat gamble. Like you got to have something to offer, how to promote and everything else, like some dude just coming up to you and like, hey, let's get this going. All right. Yeah. I'm a collector. I don't know shit. Let me throw you some money.
And that's what he does. Like I said, he talks a lot. And like I said, it's a lot of bullshit. You can see he's done stuff, but then you don't see the back end of it where he stiffed tons of people. I had a bunch of people reach out to me. There was at least, I think, 4 or 5 people that he never paid for doing one of his conventions.
This is not the toy show you're looking for.
He was selling. He's done. This is another thing he's done is he's been selling like meet and greets with people. So, like Daniel Logan.
But he's not like the handler or company that's doing it for them.
No, he was selling like dinner with Daniel Logan. And
wow.
I recently talked to Daniel Logan about it, and he was like, yeah, he was trying to do all this shit, saying that I was going to meet these people, and he was using my name.
If you read the fine print, it was dinner through Skype, and that was whether he was available or not.
He did that.
It's not refundable.
He did that with Mary Gibbs, who was the voice of Boo in Monsters, Inc. Same thing, was saying that, promoting, a personal appearance with her that he knew nothing about, and her agent is saying, why is this guy saying this? Then just recently he got busted trying to sell Sylvester Stallone autographs. He said that Sylvester Stallone was coming to his Comic-Con next year and was selling autographs for like $400. Well, this got around to Sylvester Stallone's business partner.
They're really smart. Like that dude's in charge of his figures. Like they're not Hot Toys, but they're Star Toys.
And he was like, no, he will not be appearing at this. He will never be appearing there. This is a scam. Do not, waste your money on this. And that went around. He was posting, Rob was posting in like the Lompoc, Facebook pages and stuff. So somebody made a little comment about it, said, hey, this guy's a con man. This is not true. It's been proven to be a scam, whatever. And so he got removed from the group and, the posts were taken down. But he keeps doing this. He keeps promising, this guy's going to be here. He told everyone that Pablo Francisco was doing a comedy show.
The new and reformed Pablo Francisco. I've been to a lot of his shows. I love him, dude.
And then he tried to say that it got canceled because Pablo was clean and sober now and needed to have a team of people around him, and it was going to cost a bunch of money.
Okay, I would believe that, but not really.
But somebody who also works in entertainment
Pablo don't make that much money. He travels by himself or with a group of comedians that are his buddies. That's
somebody turned around and said that they had brought that up, and somebody's like, no, that's not true. Who is saying this? And like they were pissed off.
Pablo plays out here in San Francisco all the time.
And he had to tell them. Too. He said, look, no, this guy is saying he was going to have Pablo Francisco at his thing, and then he couldn't for this reason, and he had to have a team of people around him and all this shit. And they're like, yeah,
tortilla boy.
That's they're like, yeah, that is not true. And then this dude is like, damn, that can ruin me for saying this about, another comedian.
Right.
He said, I'm just repeating what I was told and find out it's not true. So,
man, I watched those videos when Pablo he got caught in a loop where he kept going over the beginnings of his jokes over and over again. Then eventually he falls off the stage. There's multiple camera angles of it, and oh my god, it's so bad. It's also really hilarious.
Yeah.
At the same time, yeah. But I love Pablo, man. Like I it's hard for him to invent new jokes because his brain is cocaine riddled. I don't know.
Yeah, and when I heard I was still on good terms with him when he had announced that Pablo was going to be there. I was like, oh, cool. I wouldn't mind going to that and stuff. And then that's when everything started to unravel. And, saw, I was like, dude, a lot of this shit just doesn't add up. I'm like, how are you going to have Pablo Francisco show up to a coffee house?
In the Toyverse, you have to fight to survive. I need to stop there, figure now.
So yeah, it was right after that whole thing is that everything just kind of unraveled and all the shit started coming out about him. So I was going to shows and people were being like, "Oh, I heard he did a show out here." I was like, "Yeah, he just
At least
did."
he went with a lesser known comedian. He wasn't like, "Oh, we got Jerry Seinfeld."
Yeah. So people were like, "I didn't even know he has never refunded us for Capitola and he's doing other shows." And then I start hearing from other people, yeah, he told people that I had reached an agreement with him that he was going to give me space at his shows to make up for the money that he owed me.
God, such bullshit.
And I was like, no. And he was telling other people that, oh, I'll give you a spot at my show. I'll give you a spot.
Dude, you don't make it even like that. That's like,
no.
Look, dude, if you took a toy from me or took like a whole collection from me, you're like, oh, I'll get you back later. And then like it takes years and you don't get me back, I can see paying me back that way.
Yeah.
But other, big time money like that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
nah.
Like I said, he was telling that. Then, like I said, his girlfriend's brother reached out to me and was going on saying, this dude's a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. We don't want him around my sister, but, she's kind of brainwashed.
Oh, and there's that whole thing,
and
too.
then he's just like, I don't know what
he
to
shouldn't
do.
be allowed at toy shows because there's kids showing up, man.
Yeah. So what really kind of started it was that
Is he on Megan's list?
I don't think so. He was like, oh, we can't do the show because we're going to be, I had my heart attack, blah, blah, blah. A week after he was in the hospital, he was at a convention. And there's pictures of him at another convention. But he can't do anything. He's like, oh, no, I can't put on a show. But no, you were just out for a whole weekend.
Attack. I mean, I don't doubt that the guy has health problems or when you have tons of creditors and people coming after you because you fucked them over, you get panic attacks. You think they're heart
exactly.
attacks.
He's stressed.
I'm sure
he was posting stuff like, "I hope I die now, because you're harassing me. I hope I have another fucking stroke."
I mean, that's sympathy shit.
It kept going back and forth between him having a stroke and a heart attack, and him he lied so much. He would just lie about stuff, and constantly, I would call him out and prove him wrong on everything he said. I'm like, well, which one is it? You're telling me you have this money, but then you're begging for money on Twitter, telling somebody, oh, I need this because it would get me into a place. I don't have a place to live right now. I'm like, how are you going to put on a convention if you're homeless?
Right.
Which one is it?
Homeless convention, man.
Yeah, you're putting on a convention, but you're homeless. You have no money to pay your rent.
I got a shopping cart, a shoestring, and some canned fucking corn.
He had a little store in Lompoc. Well, he never paid the rent, so they had to close the store. But he doesn't have any money to pay his rent. He has no money to pay.
He's got a girlfriend though.
Well, yeah. Oh, she's a fucking catch. Jesus Christ.
All right, so I mean, we kind of covered the dark side here with one toy show entrepreneur. We can call him, entrepreneur screwer. But how do we build back better? Not to pose any fucking political shit on this, but how do we
make toy shows great again?
Yeah. Without having a fake assassination. Not that I'm saying that happened.
Yeah. So I think really it comes down to you got to kind of get to know the promoters
and your clientele.
Exactly.
Your return sales, your return people who come and buy from you.
And I think one thing is, like I had mentioned earlier, stop doing the bad ones.
Yes, absolutely.
That's if you're only going to don't do every toy show every weekend. Just be like, you know what? I'm just going to do the good ones because you're going to make good money, and you're not going to be throwing it away. If it's going to cost you, if it's going to cost you $300 to do each toy show, if you go to these toy shows and you don't make any money, that's money you just lost. If you did that one toy show and you brought out all your good shit, and you make money, it's better than going and doing everything.
So, because sometimes there's toy shows where you yourself might not do well, but other people are.
Yes.
And they're like, you have to look at the toy show not as yourself as a vendor, if you're not a vendor, whatever, but if you are a vendor and you're not doing well, but you see everyone else doing well, and there's a ton of people, maybe you're just not at the right venue at the time.
Exactly.
Or the market's not right for your shit.
And that happens. Like, I've seen people come with comic books and do great, and then the next show they bring comic books and they don't sell anything.
Yep.
You never know who's going to be there. You never know which buyer's going to walk in the door, which is why I try to cover such a broad base of stuff.
Yep.
And I do everything from Pokemon, to...
But that takes a lot of knowledge. You have to know what's hot and what's good and have that shit.
And for me, because this is what I do all the time.
You also have to know how to talk to people about it, because people want to talk about it.
Exactly.
That's what these cons are for.
Exactly. And I love doing that. I love being able to sit there and talk about it like we're doing now. We sit here, one topic, we'll talk forever.
Yeah.
I can do that at the shows. My wife hates it because people try to talk to her and she doesn't know anything and she doesn't care. So she doesn't
rolling
like
her eyes.
Yeah,
and shit.
she doesn't like helping. She's like, "Oh my god."
Hey, some of these people like coming into the toy shows, they don't care if you're listening or not. They just keep talking.
Oh yeah,
it happens a lot.
Exactly.
Some of them might be a little special. I don't know,
and
but they just want to talk. They're excited.
They might be wearing a really stinky wolf costume.
Yeah, stank wolf.
Oh yeah, and he comes and he talks to my wife.
He don't buy shit.
No, he doesn't. But he comes and he likes to sit there and talk to my wife, and it drives her crazy.
I know him. I know his name and everything, and like I got him on Facebook now and shit.
Yeah,
he's cool.
There's nothing wrong with him. It's just obviously we know he's a little special,
right.
Whatever. And I just let him in. I don't even charge him anymore.
Yeah.
I just be like, hey, just come on in, walk around. People take pictures with him, whatever. Right. It's fine. It's
they back away from the stench cloud.
Yeah, exactly. They take a picture and then they run away. So.
I have to say, the last show he didn't smell that bad. So
So to me that's something that I do at my show to try to make it better is like this guy, I let him in.
Yeah.
I don't, my rules are very lax. Like you said, sometimes you're 8 claws deep at a show. Yeah. I don't make a big deal about that stuff. I tell you guys, hey, just don't be drinking in the gym,
I
whatever.
respect the venue, man.
That's
I don't
fine.
leave the trash. There's no clues. There's no evidence.
And that's one thing at the end of the thing. There's not a ton of stuff to clean up.
I don't even throw cigarette butts on the ground outside. I don't. I put them like in the back of a vehicle or
cleaning up our venue is very easy because all of our people respect us and they, like you said, they respect the venue. So it's not a thing. We treat our people good, and that's something that I've seen at other shows. Is dude, you never have anybody come around, ask how you're doing, things like that. I do that at every show. I go around, I talk to every single vendor.
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do.
And I'm like, hey, how are you doing? What's going on?
I'm like, I'm up on 12 grand already.
And I'd like to know, if they'd like me to do something different. And I get a lot of feedback. And guys will be like, hey, next time, could we do this? How about we try this? And I implement a lot of the stuff they say. Hey, next time, could we put some signs here? Could we tell people this? We've moved the entrance a couple times, trying different stuff. We're always trying something different. And
but there's always people who are bitching.
Yeah,
you can't get away from that.
There's always people bitching, and the guys that
I've even heard bitching like your signs are like the size of like 11 by 8 papers. Like nobody can see that.
Yeah.
People miss that every day.
Yeah,
but it's like how much money you got to spend on a giant poster board that goes from a long hallway,
exactly. When my wife, works the door and she's up there telling everybody, "Hey, make sure you go check out the other one. Make sure you go check out the other."
People
gym.
don't hear
make
that.
Make sure you go there.
Yeah.
Being told multiple times, and there's other signs. There's signs up all over. Yeah, I'm not going to make a huge banner for it. For hey, go here because if the next time, we may not do that.
Right.
But like I said, it's very few people that bitch about that. And like I said, I try to do stuff I try to talk to everyone and see what they want. What can I do? I'm constantly asking. I haven't been to other shows where they ask that. Like I said, I do shows constantly, and I've never even met the promoter.
Yeah.
And it's a show that I've done multiple times, and I've never met the promoter.
No, they're just there to take money.
Exactly.
Or have their underlings take money.
Everybody that has ever done one of my shows has met me, and we've talked.
And and that's a lot of like reason why people don't come to certain toy shows, because it's a paid flea market. That's what it is.
It is. It's a specialized flea market.
But where else are you going to find something like that? That's the deal.
Exactly.
And when you're only charging $5 to get in, even $10, fine,
Yeah.
But some of these places, like, it'll be nothing in there, and it's $20-$30.
Oh, exactly. There's one coming up, in a month or so. I think it's like $15-$20 to get in. And the last time he did it, he had maybe 30 vendors, and a lot of these vendors were like arts and crafts and stuff like that. I've been to some shows where it's a toy show and you got people selling knit beanies and flowers and stuff like that. They're earrings. My last show, I had a girl come out. She was doing arts and crafts, but it was all Hello Kitty stuff.
Yeah, no, that was cool. And my
she,
daughter bought a bunch of shit.
So, my niece did too, and my sister-in-law was like, "Wow, she was really cool." This was the first show she'd ever done, and I went and I talked to her before the show. She had a bunch of questions, and I said, "Hey, well, why don't you try this, do this?" Her very first show, she was more than happy with it. She like doubled her followers on Instagram from just from the show, and people were telling me about her. They're like, "Wow, this lady was really nice. She was a young girl, and her whole family was there. They had a great time." Her dad came up to me, said it was a great show. He's all, "Thank you for letting us be here." And she did really good. And I've seen her on social media. She's been posting and stuff, and she's been doing pretty good.
That's awesome, man.
So
yeah, I've only been to other shows, probably with you there. I don't sell that much anyways, but I've never seen another promoter come down and check anything, or talk about how some of their like new sellers did really well, or none of that shit.
Yeah.
None of it.
Yeah, and I get sometimes with really big conventions, it's hard.
Yeah,
the main promoter can't be there. He's running around. I'm running around constantly, so I know what it's like. He may not, but when you've got a smaller show, it's not hard. It's not hard at the end of the day. It's not hard when you're setting up, especially when you've got a team of people there. You've got a show that's got only 50 vendors, and you've got 20 people on your staff.
Yeah.
You should be able to go around and talk to people.
Right.
That's not that hard. I run my show on a bare minimum of staff.
Yeah, you do.
It's my family that does it. We do it all, and we don't have many issues.
No.
Very, very rarely.
No, not yet.
Yeah.
I'm planning some. So.
Yeah.
Well, shit, man. I think we did it.
I think so.
We talked about the dark side of the venue con collecting toy shows, and even named them out, man.
Exactly.
The fucking Darth Kaisers. And
exactly.
Shit. Yeah,
Dude,
don't fuck with them.
Yeah, that's
at all.
good. Yes. Yeah, fuck that guy.
But also, like, if you guys want to contact us, we do have an email. So it's it's basically our title, but just the letters of it.
Yeah, what is it? IGDAF at Gmail, or podcast at Gmail.
IGABF.
Yeah, that's it.
Podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to learn to say that quicker. Like IGBAF.
Yeah.
It'll come.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's on the show notes. So, look, it's brand new. So get with it.
Yeah.
Send us some voice notes or questions, whatever, comments on the last episode. Doesn't matter. We'll read them,
Exactly. Hopefully this weekend I talked to my guy about having a website up pretty soon.
Oh, sweet.
I'm going to see him this Sunday, so hopefully that's something we can get going, because I would definitely love to take questions, because I know there's going to be a lot of questions.
Yeah.
What I think about stuff, other shit I've seen, what I know. I'd love to do that. So
what about future episodes coming up and ideas that you got?
So, we touched on it earlier. It was Funko. We're gonna talk about Funko. That one we're probably gonna have a guest.
Okay.
I want to talk about
We're gonna have a Funko specialist guest and then shit all over him.
Exactly. Just fuck him up the whole time. So I want to talk about, kind of the difference between the old school collectors and the modern collectors.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of the old school guys like to shit on the modern collectors
Sure.
and tell them their stuff is trash when it's not.
It's
I think
not. It's
great.
better.
It is so much better. I get the nostalgia and the value is there, and I'm fine with that. But I don't like when you shit on someone's hobby.
Right. No,
Don't shit on something
shouldn't.
somebody else likes.
Even if they are a Funko collector, but I will shit on the product.
Exactly. You're gonna shit on the product. Be like, yeah, that's whatever. But hey, if you want to collect it, that makes you happy, go ahead.
Yeah.
But if you can say, well, no, look at this is actually better for this reason. If you can articulate it,
Dude, I can see both sides.
yeah. Exactly. So then, one thing I definitely want to talk about is, the toy companies and putting out their new product and stuff.
Yeah,
And how
that's
it
a shit
affects
show.
it is and how it affects us as collectors. And, I have the other side where, I'm a seller also. I have wholesale accounts. I deal with them. I know what,
What
margin-
they
what
ship
the-
in a box and how many fucking
exactly, and
you
I know what
shit
the
figures you
margins
get.
are, and I know what these other companies are paying. I've bought directly from Hasbro, so I know what the cost on this stuff is.
Right, and your shit is like the shit you can't sell doesn't end up at Ollie's.
Exactly, that ends up in my fucking garage. So where I've got piles of some shit right now. So
Just have a wrestling match full of Star Wars, like a giant fucking room, and people have to battle. Dude, that's the next Hood Mania, man. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, that's something. And then there's one thing we're going to touch on that is going to take multiple episodes, and that's going to be the Facebook groups.
Okay. Yeah.
That one, because I got a bunch
That's
of
an
people.
ever ongoing
Yes,
process.
there.
there.
I've got some people that want to be on, and I'm collecting stories for that. That's going to be an ongoing thing.
And if you want an insight into this, join these Facebook groups. There's the IC, the VA. They all stand for something. And I forget, but
there's Imperial Commissary, which I've been kicked out of, but still a pretty decent group. A little cultish sometimes. You've got the Vintage Alliance.
there's 12 backs or something.
So,
like that.
well, then there's my favorite group, which we draw some content from, is the Dianoga Trash Talking group.
yeah, love 'em.
My absolute favorite group. We literally just talk shit about other collectors and anything, and everything.
Nobody
in there.
gets butt hurt in there. Really,
Exactly. Not that often. Occasionally,
Sometimes they let in the people that they're talking shit about.
yeah, they'll tag them. They'll
Yeah.
be like they will tag them, just so they can come and try to defend themselves.
Yeah.
There's another group, Bounty Hunter Feedback Group on Facebook, where people call it scammers and stuff like that. That's another great group. There is the 12 back vintage Star Wars group, which is good. Then there's like the OG group, the vintage Star Wars figures. That group is full of idiots, though. People who don't know what they're talking about, bad information constantly.
So it's just loose. I'm not saying that admins are bad. They're just loosely run.
Oh yeah, the admins for that are horrible.
That's like me. I don't give
That
a fuck.
admin spends more time.
freedom of
in
speech.
he spends more time in the Dianoga group policing shit than he does in his own group. It's so bad. But yeah, that group, everyone in there swears they had a rocket firing Boba Fett when they were kids and shit like
Right.
that. Yeah,
I remembered. I choked on it.
exactly. So many of these guys in that group, but there's lots of them. There's some Black Series groups that I'm in. Some of them are really good, and some of them are super strict. If you laugh at something about an admin,
emojis, none of that shit.
Yeah, you put a laughing emoji on
Even
an
if,
admin's comment, they
there's
kick
an
you out.
Inkling of your comment that's like not derogatory but jokey, and you can't do it.
I posted a video of
You have to be the fucking Terminator in there. Like, yes, this is affirmative.
yeah, I posted a video of Patrick from Hasbro, who was in charge of Star Wars at Celebration, where he didn't know how to turn on a lightsaber, and my post got taken down as bullying.
Wow.
Yeah, in one of these groups. There's some vintage collection groups. There's some retro, the retro collection groups. That's actually a pretty decent group. I like the people in there. So there's lots of these groups out there, and we're gonna get to talking to them.
It's not even like the trolls. Like, some people just have fun trolling. It doesn't make them a bad person because
Oh no,
internet is not real.
no, No,
But people do.
If you're
people
a
do
troll,
like kill themselves over it. So yes, technically it is real.
yeah, if you're a troll for just the sake of trolling, I can respect that.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't know how many people you made life exit. So
Yeah.
you don't know.
No.
So maybe don't do it. I don't know. I'm not the judge
I mean,
here.
there's levels to it. If you're just like, loosely talking shit and you're not telling, old Big Mac, he once told somebody that they should blow their brains out.
Wait, Big Mac. Who the fuck is that dude?
Big Mac from the Imperial Cafeteria.
Big Mac. Yeah. Big Mac. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we know who he is.
Yeah, so we're gonna cover that too.
Right.
He did a whole rant. He told someone, he basically said, if you don't like the way we're doing this, get the fuck out of the way. We're running the hobby now.
He basically told everyone to go life exit themselves.
He did. He literally said, "Why don't you blow your fucking brains out?"
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
we're gonna get the. I got the clip. We're gonna play
That's
it.
evil as fuck.
It is.
Like I would never. I say random, like stupid shit, ignorant shit all the time on Hoodcast.
Yeah.
Just for like a joke and
Exactly.
a rise to get people going. Be entertaining. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
But do not. Yeah, dude. That's I don't say shit.
I
like
mean,
that.
that was exactly what he said, word for word. So
Wow.
I got the clip. We'll play it.
All right. Well, stay tuned, gentlemen and ladies and starship.
Yeah,
people.
we got a lot more shit talking coming. So.
In the name of the Galactic Senate of the Republic, you're under arrest, Chancellor.
And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.